Hey guys, welcome back to Professional Weekers YouTube channel. Today we're at home and we just got back from Thailand and we are going to go over the 10 cultural shocks that we noticed while we were visiting there that you may not know about. So stick around, check it out, hit that subscribe button, and let's go.
So we just got back from Thailand. We were there for about 3 weeks. We visited Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Phuket. And this list is just some things that we've noticed that are kind of universal through those three main areas.
All right, so these items are in no particular order, and they're just things that we happen to notice while we're there as Americans visiting Thailand.
With this list, just know that being raised and born and raised in America, there's just things that we've just noticed that are different, right? Obviously, different places do things differently. And we love Thailand, and we thought it was a great country, and we definitely can't wait to get back.
So number one is we noticed that they drive anything, anywhere, anytime. There are no rules from what we can tell on the road. Yeah, these motorcycles, the ones that they had with that were restaurants on wheels. Yeah, I thought were particularly interesting. It was really unique to see those things going down. You see whole shops driving down the road, and yeah, just pulling U-turns, driving the wrong way. Didn't seem to really faze anybody. Riding up on the sidewalks, they pretty much did it all. Yeah. So it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, it's definitely, again, a where you fit in type of society. And listen, I think it's great. It's ingenuity and it's just getting things done. I will say though, it's interesting seeing someone driving a scooter, pulling a like their restaurant, like their food stall behind them, which was pretty cool.
Right.
And then when we were in Phuket, what did you see?
Yeah, or when they had like 6 jet skis lined up, just one after another, you know, train style going down the road. You definitely would never see that in the U.S. I think there are some countries or some states where you can have maybe like 3
or 3 trailers,
like 2 trailers and a tow vehicle, but
yeah,
I've never seen 6.
Yeah,
so that was pretty crazy.
So I think we have a video or a picture of maybe 1 or 2. I don't think we have a picture of 6 when we were so surprised when we saw it. We couldn't get the camera on time, but yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. So in addition to driving anywhere at any time, the traffic in Thailand is ridiculous. So not only are they fantastic with having public transit in places like, Bangkok, but rush hour is like a 3-hour thing there on both sides of the day. So, there would be times where we were, walking around at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and traffic would still be backed up for people trying to get out of the city.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a nightmare situation. And we one time we ordered a Bolt, like their version of an Uber, and you could see him on the map. The guy did not move for 20 minutes. He was still at the same light for 20 minutes. Like literally, we timed it. Yeah. So, yeah, if you need to go anywhere, book, budget some extra time. Yeah,
for sure. So number 2 is everybody in the country that we ran into or that we encountered with was very, very, very polite. Everything was please and thank you or sawasdee ka or kapun ka. That was how they introduced themselves, or depending upon your gender, right? So, but with that, everyone was very pleasant and helpful. Anybody who wanted to talk to us spoke very, very good English, right? So we really enjoyed our time. I mean, we felt very welcome, felt very safe. Honestly, I felt safer in Thailand than I have in many U.S. cities. So
yeah, they were all very eager to help, and you could tell that they had an issue with even telling you that you were doing something wrong. Yeah. There's a couple times, like one time I remember in particular, we were running late from an excursion, and the guy came out to get us, and he's just like, oh, look over there. Come on, let's go this way. And didn't really want to say that we were late. And I finally asked him if we were, and he's like, yeah. He had a hard time admitting it. So they're just overwhelmingly polite. Everyone was so nice, for sure. Number 3 is the bathroom situation. So there's a couple of different things that we noticed about the restrooms. For the most part, where we went had typical Western style toilets. So if you're used to that sort of thing, that's really not going to be too much of a shock for you. But if you do go out into some of the rural areas, we did notice at some of the temples that they had like the more traditional Asian style toilet, where it was like more
squatty potties.
Yeah, like a squat. There was like basically just like a hole in the ground with little foot places on either side, and that may be a little bit different to get used to. They also are very big on just cleanliness in general. So they call them I don't know, as most foreigners like us tend to call them like butt guns. Or
I do not
butt
call
pistols.
them. I do not call them that. I call them bidets because they are. It's a bidet.
Yeah.
It's a version of a bidet.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than like the bidets that are built in. So this is kind of more like the vegetable washers that you have in your sink, honestly. Yeah. And they just attach it there to the toilet, and you can use that. Or in like I said, that more rural area, they had a bucket with a scoop. So. Definitely a little interesting there. And also another thing I noticed about the restrooms was, particularly in the men's restrooms, I found this strange, was that they clean them. And typically, like in the U.S., if you either have a man cleaning the restrooms or you'll have a woman cleaning the restrooms, but the men's restroom, but she'll close the restroom while she's cleaning. In Thailand, if a woman's cleaning the men's restroom, they don't close it. Yeah. So people just keep coming and going. Men just keep coming in and doing their business, and there's a woman in the restroom cleaning it. So you kind of get used to that pretty quick too.
Well, also like in Europe, right? Like it's just a bathroom, right? So all dinners go in all bathrooms there. So it's just again a different change of pace.
Right.
So yeah, it's different. Okay, number 4 for me, this kind of stood out pretty glaringly. I am 5'4". I'm a shorter person. I typically notice when things are uneven in terms of footing, and then I also typically notice when steps are not standard or at code. There were times where we were walking up steps and it was totally fine. And there were times where, the step would be 4 inches shorter than the next one or 6 inches taller than the last one. So, I think we probably stumbled more in Thailand than we ever have before, but for the most part, it was fine. You kind of get used to it. The other thing too is not everywhere is what we would call in the U.S. Accessible, right? Some of the sidewalks were a little more uneven, and some of the railings didn't always, or some of the stairways, or some of the the lookout points or the ledges didn't have railings. So. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Some of the things that we would take for granted here in the U.S. was like the ADA compliance and the building codes of regulating uniform steps. I don't. Some of it's just older infrastructure over there. But just a lot of things were a little bit wonky in that regard. But
and then with that, I think the thing that stuck out to me the most was the power line situation. So we were in Bangkok taking a bus tour, and we were sitting on the top deck, and I'll link the video down below, and maybe I'll even drop some footage in here where we both got smacked in the head with a power line because we were
almost got decapitated.
By a power line. So
our bus hit a power line that was just hanging down the road.
So good times.
Don't.
I do think though that the newer buildings though are a little bit more standard in the sense of stairways and stairwells and things like that. And then also piggybacking on the safety thing, we didn't really see any ambulances, and care flight or life flight is not a thing in Thailand unless you are a celebrity or like a general, I think our guide said.
Right. Yeah. So I did see one ambulance, but it was stuck in traffic. So again, when that ambulance is coming, it's not like here in the U.S. where everyone makes a path. It took a while for that ambulance to get down the street. If you're in need of medical help urgently, it may be a while. So kind of keep that in mind and try to definitely use things at your own risk and take caution. Yeah, because we noticed that too. That there were a lot of places where there are no safety railings, nothing to prevent you from falling. Out on the beaches, usually here in the U.S. you'd see a sign that says like "Keep off the rocks for your own safety." Nope, not there. Everybody, not everybody, but anybody could walk up and just walk on the rocks, and no one was going to stop you or say anything. There's no sign even telling you not to do it.
Part of me wonders if common sense is just more common in Thailand, or maybe there's a less litigious society.
Personal.
Hey, kitty. Yeah. Personal safety is something.
Personal
accountability,
responsibility, accountability, liability. And number 5 on our list is how incredibly affordable everything is. So anything from food to clothing items, basic necessities. Any kind of services or anything, it's so much cheaper, maybe 10 times cheaper than what it would be here in the U.S., particularly with the tipping. So here in the U.S., you're going to tip 18 to 20% anytime that you have a restaurant order. But in Thailand, they may not tip at all. If they do, maybe you round it up to the next 10 baht, 50 baht. It really wasn't that much. And it was really hard for me to kind of get used to that, and I found myself, I think I was oftentimes over tipping just because, it never felt right tipping somebody like a nickel or a quarter.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then I think at one point even our guide was just like, well, tipping somebody too much that could give the wrong impression, right? So I think it's a respect thing. So again, you know, we're still firm believers in tipping people well, you know, because they're performing a service and that's our culture here, right? So, but just be mindful of that. We have heard some stories of other you know, people saying that they've been to Thailand and they tipped too much one time and you know, people were like outside of their hotel room. So I don't think that's ever going to, hopefully that will never happen again, but just something to think about.
If you tip too much, they may come back and you know want to offer more services.
Yeah, exactly. And for number 6, we're going to talk about how clean they are, how clean the buildings are, how clean the floors are, how clean everything is in a city, which is kind of surprising because talking about number 9 later, but with that, everyone takes their shoes off whenever they come into your apartment or your hotel room. Even when we had someone showing us the hotel room that we were staying at or our suite, they took their shoes off. So we just got into the habit of also taking off our shoes, and it really works. I think I might institute that rule here, where there's no shoes allowed in the house.
Yeah, I mean, almost any time of the day you could find somebody sweeping the floors, you know, keeping them clean.
Yep.
So at one point we went to a beach and they had a public restroom there, and in order to get into that restroom, they had a little pool of water that you had to step in as you went into the restroom, so to wash the sand off your feet. So you know, just trying to keep as much sand and grit off of the floors as possible. And it seemed like they're almost obsessed with overly smooth floors. You know, none of the floors inside the hotels or anything were textured. They were all just extremely smooth, just to really emphasize how clean they actually were.
Yeah. That also means because they're not textured, if they get a little wet,
you slip.
Yeah, you can zip right. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing too at the temples, right? Be very careful because if they're wet, those tiles are slick. That's how I know. Good times.
And number 7 on our list are the massages. So this was, I think, our favorite part of Thailand and the thing that I look forward to the most next time that we go back. And in Bangkok, you know, or anywhere else really, so you could just find massages everywhere, massage parlors everywhere. And in Bangkok, there was at least 3 or 4 of them every block, and they are so incredibly cheap. And all the people that work them are so skilled at what they do. And I think our favorite was just after a long day, you know, almost every night we would come back and we would get a 1-hour foot massage. And again, going back to how cheap things were, this was insane. 1 full hour foot massage was like $10, and that included tip.
Yeah.
And you could bump that up to 90 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours. It was insane. And at one point we actually did a spa treatment where the both of us together had it was a 3 hours couple massage spa with
steam shower,
a sauna, hot stone massage,
a scrub,
you know, facial, everything for 3 full hours for the both of us, and it was less than $100 for combined. It was insane how affordable it was.
Yeah, I miss that so much. Like I appreciate a good massage and I appreciate a good spa treatment, but it's just nice that it's so affordable there and that people really do prioritize like that self-care piece there too. So
yeah, absolutely. So if you go to Thailand, do not skip on a massage.
On it. Yeah,
you'll be missing out.
Yeah, for sure. And we're talking like the PG massages. We're not going to talk. We don't know anything about the other ones, but PG massages. Okay.
Yeah, you can tell which ones are different.
Yeah, you can. We'll let you guys figure that part out.
You'll notice.
You'll know.
You'll know. When you see it, you'll know.
If you know, you know. Number 8 on our list is, even though Thailand is a very clean country, right, and they really care about the cleanliness in terms of their homes and their temples and things like that, we did notice the lack of like public management in terms of like waste, in terms of like trash cans, right? So here in the US, right, you can probably go to any major city and every block or so you will find a trash can. Thailand, we didn't really see that, specifically in Chiang Mai, right? We were on during the the Sunday night market. Lewis carried around his trash for a little bit until I think some vendor took pity on him and said, "Hey, you can throw out your trash in my thing." So
yeah, I think that's kind of how they do it, because all the different vendors are passing out different food items with trash, so they all have trash cans themselves, and I think they just kind of generally collectively they'll take the trash back from you. If you go to any vendor, you can hand them your trash, but there wasn't any. I think I found one public trash can that whole festival.
And it was full. It was pretty packed. So.
But, amazingly, though, like with the cleanliness, like we talked about, there wasn't a whole lot of trash on the streets.
Right, exactly.
Now, but also, too, we did notice on the beaches there was quite a bit of trash.
Plastic.
A lot of trash, yeah. And I think that some of that is the sewer systems there, the drainage. Not necessarily sewer, but it's the drainage, the runoff. The water drainage from the streets runs off out into the beach. So if anything is left in the streets, it's going to get flushed right out to the beach, and that's that's a bit unfortunate to see at the beach. The beaches are incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
It's spectacular. Some of the best beautiful beaches in the world, and it's a pity that they have an issue with the trash on the beach. But it does seem like it's something that I think everyone over the entire world is becoming more conscious of the plastic use and the pollution, and it is something that they're taking steps forward. So we did see some signs and things mentioning that that they were trying some incentives that they had to try to keep that clean.
Yeah. Yeah, some places like they don't give out plastic bags anymore. They're more eco-friendly, and they don't use plastics, which are all things that we can get with. So.
Yeah. And so number 9 on our list is how blunt people can be sometimes. So like we did mention, they are extremely polite, but there was a couple times that we came across some people that just spoke. They just said it like they saw it.
Very direct.
Very direct. Yeah. So a couple of things that stuck out to us was we know that we're not small people.
No.
And so there was a couple comments about weight. I think at one point, one guy just flat out asked me how much I weighed. And, and I told him, and he said, wow. He was surprised. Yeah. And understandably, I'm a lot bigger than the average person, especially over in Thailand.
He can see over everybody's head.
Right. So kind of keep that in mind, especially if you're a bigger person. They may make some comments about your weight. I don't always think it was necessarily that they're trying to be rude about it. Another thing that we saw was sometimes there was a bit of overt racism that we noticed, that sometimes they would just say, these certain type of people do this. There's a lot of stereotypes kind of thrown around, and I'm not going to repeat any of those.
No,
but just kind of be aware that sort of thing is something that they may talk to you about, and just
make good choices about how you choose to receive that information or partake in that kind of discussion.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we just generally kind of tried to, okay, and maybe
keep
move
moving.
on.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah. Hey, look at that starfish. Yeah. And then with that, though, in terms of the directness, right, we did see some stalls, like vendor stalls, of where you can buy things that definitely you would not find in the U.S. just at some flea market or something like that. Like we saw some images of like Hitler and images of maybe Stalin. I think that's the other one that we saw.
Right.
Like, and it just some things that I was just like, wow, like it was a little bit of a surprise for me. No, and I get it. Not everyone.
Yeah, and that was definitely not everywhere.
It was just I just remember seeing it twice.
Yeah, a handful of stalls in some of the party towns. Yeah, maybe they just were. I don't know if they're unaware of the imagery there, or if they're just trying to be offensive.
A shock factor,
right. Like that, like shock rock, shock radio or something. Yeah, like the T-shirt version of that. Yeah. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And then along those same lines of items that you may find at gift shops, there were definitely a number of like phallic shaped items.
For various varieties of things. So just... if you're taking your kids, just keep your eyes out.
Yeah, you may want to have a discussion before you go, because there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay. So the number 10 for us is anytime we had a sit-down meal and we ordered a couple things. Here in the U.S., typically you have like your courses, right? You have your salad course or your appetizer course, then your salad would come out, and then your mains would come out, right? We noticed where we were going, it was just whenever the food was done being made, it came out to the table. So there were some times where I would be sitting waiting to have my dinner, and Lewis already had his appetizer and his, and part of his main, which is fine, right? But just go into the mindset of like maybe you order a couple things to share if you're really hungry, and then those things you kind of
or even sometimes I would have my main and then my appetizer would come out later. Or like I mentioned, I'd have a full 3-course meal and she's got nothing.
Yeah, it happened a couple times.
Yeah, so I mean, we just kind of take it with a grain of salt, and just if that's how it is, that's how it is. And anytime you're traveling, you always kind of remind yourself that you're not in America, and the culture is going to be a little bit different than than what you're used to. So, you know, keep that in mind with your expectations. You'll be in good shape.
Honestly, we probably could do a part 2 of this too, because I'm just sitting here talking about this. It made me think of like 5 or 6 other things. Okay. So, yeah. So comment down below if you would like a part 2 of the things that surprised us in Thailand. I have a whole list more.
All right, guys, so that's going to do it for us today. Remember, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below, is there anything that we missed, anything that shocked you when you visited Thailand? Or do you want to expand upon any of the topics that we talked about? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, hit that subscribe button. We're out of here, and we'll see you next weekend. Bye! And they stay open pretty late, and they have amazing...
Liberty!
Okay.
All right. Good girl.
No,
you say it.
Yeah.
You say it.
No, I think you did great. I want you to say it again.
No, you say it. I don't even know what I said. I literally forgot what I said.
And so you're not going to say it at all?
No. Your turn.
I don't know what you said either.
Why are we so bad at this? Liberty, do not knock over the camera. Come here.
You want to try to maybe try that again? Like.
No.
Hey guys, welcome back to Professional Weekers YouTube.
Stop with the finger.
Well, that's how I always do it.
I know, but it doesn't look great.
It doesn't look great?
No.
What about all the rest of the time?
No more finger. Put the finger away.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Take 3. 4. Cat.
Hi, cat. Okay. The order that we remembered them in.
Hi, lips. I'm gonna try. Hi, honey.
She's also probably breathing in your microphone.
Yeah, thanks, hon. Nice to see you. Okay, go lay down. Can you go lay down now? Thank you for snoozing on me. That was so nice of you. All the way down. Down, please. I know. Down, please. I know. Down, please. All the way down.
You alright?
She was making out with me.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I purposely put on a black shirt like a dummy.
Yeah.
All right. I'll know what we're doing. We're new here.